Hello, everybody. It's Andy Smith with your weekly book look. I am a 33-year veteran of the comic book industry. Every week, Tuesday, 8 a.m., you get a new video book look where I grab a book off my shelf, page through it. If the book is still available, bingo, you can go buy it. And if I can find a link, I always put it in the description. If it's not available, well, you can always come back and rewatch these videos. This week, Dear John, Alex Toth, the Alex Toth Doodle book by Alex Toth and John Hitchcock. John Hitchcock, I got it from him in 2019. He did a little doodle for me of Alex Toth. John actually owns a store up in Raleigh, North Carolina. It is a fantastic comic book store. Talking old school. You want new issues, you can go there, but if you want some great back issues, definitely go there. So basically, he corresponded with Alex Toth for 25 years. Here, reading right here, 25 years of postcards and sketches from Alex Toth, one of America's greatest visual storytellers. Octopus Press, first edition, 2006. This book is edited, designed, and produced by Billy Ingram, James Counts, tvparty.com. And basically, they would correspond back and forth with each other. The introduction from 2006, a book like this would not be possible without the following very kind people. So he goes into giving thanks, Scott Hampton, George Pratt. I had George Pratt as a teacher at the Cubert School. And more. And yeah. So Alex Toth, besides being a fantastic artist, has just gorgeous handwriting, as you can see here. No lines ruled out, just boom, starting to write a note. I couldn't imagine writing a note that long, seriously. That's the problem with computers and stuff, makes everything so much easier, but you lose something like this. Beautiful stuff here. Birdman, Alex Toth. There's a book called Alex Toth by Design. It came out 25, 30 years ago, and then a cease and desist came down, and unfortunately, a lot of them got dumped and trashed because Hanna-Barbera was like, no, you can't put that book out unauthorized like that, but it just featured all these beautiful design sketches that Alex did through his career for Hanna-Barbera. It's not cheap if you can find a copy. It's probably $300 or more. I was lucky enough to get a copy of it when it came out for $30, whatever it was. Some of this stuff right here is just obviously pages or illustrations from jobs that Alex Toth did before we get into the sketches. Detective 442. Man, I just love this. I love the way he did his black spotting, the simplicity of his artwork. This book started with a letter. It was a letter to Wally Wood, the first comic book artist I ever wrote to. This is by John Hitchcock. Matter of fact, it was the first time I ever wrote to someone that I'd never met. Wood was one of my favorite artists, and I want to say thanks for all the amazing comic books he created. Believe it or not, the great Wally Wood wrote back. I was so shocked to receive his handwritten card that I hid it in a book. A good friend told me that if I didn't write him back, that it might be considered rude, so I began writing to Woody on a regular basis. This went on for many years, up until his death in 1981. In 1981, the Comic Buyer's Guide accidentally posted Alex Toth's address in a column. I wrote the guy the worst letter of all time. I didn't mean to send him a crappy letter, but I realize now it was a lame stinker. It was really terrible at the time. I thought I was pretty cool. Why the poor guy who wrote me back remains a great mystery. He must have felt sorry for me. You can Google that. That's his Alex Toth's old address. Be curious to see what that place goes for today. Might be an apartment. I don't know. The Danny Thomas Show. Like I said, Alex worked on so much fun stuff. Oh, here we go. But it continues. But he did write back with a super reply. Here it is. Don't know if that's John's address still. That started an avalanche of furious correspondence that continued for 25 years. One pebble tossed into a pond netted these amazing results. The funny part about this friendship is that when I was a kid, I hated Alex Toth's work. Whenever my friends would get together and talk comics, I would rail on the guy. One day in 4th grade, my friend Mike Pratt told me he thought I was wrong. He really liked Toth's work. I thought the guy was pulling my leg, so I went to my older, wiser friend, Billy Cummings. He was 4 years older and knew everything about comic books. Billy Cummings liked Toth too. I couldn't believe it. He asked me a question that to this day I will never forget. Have you ever read one of his stories? No, I hadn't bothered because I didn't like the way it looked. So Billy pulled out a copy of Erie number 3 and told me to sit down and read the Toth story entitled The Monument. I was blown away and began to ask a lot of questions. My mentor explained that Alex Toth knew how to tell a story, and that is what comic books should be all about. I never thought about comic books the same way after that and began reading everything I could find by this guy Alex Toth. And I was never disappointed. His work always challenged me to see better, to think more about comics as an art form. Alex once told me in a phone conversation that he sketched all the time for exercise, then threw everything in the trash. I begged him not to do this. Send them to me, and one day we'll have a very cool book. Now here it is. This is the text of the first letter I sent to Alex, followed by his response at the right. Okay, guys, I won't be reading this whole book if that's what you fear, but I will read this first letter. I suppose, to put it bluntly, I'm a big fan of yours. I've always been impressed with your artistic nerve and that you dare to be both creative and always individualistic. There is nothing like a fine Alex Toth story. Why am I writing you other than to heap endless praise upon your work? Well, if you have a few minutes, read this enclosed and supposed article I submitted to the Buyer's Guide. It was rejected, but I did want to get some critical feedback, and who would know better than the man that created what I studied, wrote about, and mostly enjoyed. A lot of people put down comics during the late 50s and 60s. Well, I love your stuff. Come to think about it, Mort Drucker wasn't half bad either. Oh, have you ever done drawings for fans for cash requests of a favorite character? If so, let me know what you would charge for a Zorro sketch. Thank you for your time, John Hitchcock. And then Alex Toth wrote back some sketches. And this whole book, except for pages like that, of course, is the back and forth, the letters that Alex Toth sent with the sketches. Now, if you ever meet John Hitchcock at a show, he has a binder full of all these original sketches that he got, just stuff like this. And I was lucky enough to sit next to John at a show and just go through that binder in awe. And that is when I got this book. I'm a huge Alex Toth fan. I have been for even as a kid. So unlike John, I was, when I first discovered his work and found out he was the guy behind Space Ghost, I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So the simplicity of Alex's line, his draftsmanship, his use of spotting black areas and such, great cartooniness as well, just such a versatile artist. And, you know, these are some of the doodles, or the doodles, that he was able to get from his correspondence back and forth with the great Alex Toth. I mean, look at that. Just beautiful figure work. These great, quick sketches. Alex has such a unique signature. He would date everything below that crossbar T, 87 right there it says. April 14th, 1987. Looks like he even did some art on the outside of the envelopes. I mean, if the people just knew what they were getting. Look at this. Like, I saw the original to this. You just heard me profess my love for Space Ghost. I want to say, hey, John, look, what's that over there? And have him look over his shoulder and just rip this out of the book. But I couldn't do that because I'm an honest type of fellow. But that is just fantastic. Black Hawk. Look at that. Just wonderful cartooning. There was a Stuart Immonen book that came out with some of his sketches and stuff that I'm blanking on the name of it. And it has sketches kind of like this vibe in it. So, yeah, I'd say Stuart was an Alex Toth fan for sure. Stuart was a guy when he was doing work at Marvel, I would always buy it. And then he did that Empress with Mark Millar miniseries, which I bought. And I believe when Mark sold his catalog to Netflix, he obviously made millions of bucks. And if I remember correctly, he shared it with guys like Lionel Francis Yu, Steve McNiven, Stuart Immonen. Who else did he do books with? Frank Quietly. So if you're wondering why aren't those guys doing a lot of work anymore, I'm assuming it's because they don't have to. That is my guess. So Mark Millar, if you're watching this video and you're looking for another artist to hook up with, shoot me a message, buddy. Love to work with you. Cool designs of cars and vehicles and stuff. And you get to read all these notes. And the nice thing is Alex's handwriting was so neat that, I mean, you'd have no problem reading the notes. Unlike mine, if I did something like this, you'd be like, forget it. I need somebody that can decipher this mess, because it looks like hieroglyphics. That's how bad my handwriting is. $19.90 we're up to. So right there, 81 to 90, 19 years. The lost art of correspondence. I could correspond with somebody through email and just send them JPEGs, but it's really not the same thing now, is it? 1992 we're up to. I haven't looked at this book in a while, so I don't know if this goes on until For John. Look at that, a grayscale Batman. I don't know if this goes up until Alex's death, or maybe the letter stopped before he passed away. Maybe when we get to the end of the book, I'll know. I think Alex Toth would scare me more getting a critique from than Neil Adams. I've gotten a critique from Neil Adams back when I was in the Kubert school, and Neil's a tough guy, or was a tough guy when it came to critiques. I've heard Alex is tougher. I mean, you'd learn a lot, and trust me, if he was around and I could, I would, but still, got to go in there with a spine made out of steel. Just be prepared, because you're going to get ripped apart, but at the same time, you'd learn so much. Good googly moogly, this stuff is gorgeous. I don't know if he just, if he just did these silhouettes without any actual drawing, just literally taking his pencil and just doing a silhouette, wow, is all I can say. Because those look like they were traced off of final drawings. Look at that. Alex even makes a woman with a little bit of girth, shall we say, look pretty. Oh my God, this Superman from 2003. I saw these two originals as well, and I was just like, I want those. Look at that simplicity. Just a marker. Sorry, I hovered there. Oh yeah, that one too. Just great. Great design on the cape. The wrinkles all aiming down to his head and stuff. God, I love these doodles. Oodles of doodles for you. Ooh, ooh. As always, you can request a book for me to do a book look on, and obviously if I have it, I will do it for you. One of my another favorite of my Alex Toth stuff is Super Friends designs, and he actually did do a Super Friends little short story in the collected edition of Super Friends trade paperback DC put out. So look at this. He conducted an interview with Alex Toth as well. And look at all this writing. My God. Just once again, he must, like, ugh, I just hate handwriting. Hate the act of doing it, I should say. I look at this stuff and I'm just like, wow. I remember reading this back in the day. Not anymore. I'd have to go back and reread it. Do you consider yourself a teacher? Yes, I could be, and a damn good one too. After all, as is an old truth, unhappy is he know-it-all with no one to tell it to. Enough said. Oh. His thoughts on classic comic book tales. Oh, there's a tothfans.com. I don't know if that's still active or not. Oh, there you go, the monument. I have this as a reprint. This is great. This first panel here, just the cars, the architecture, and then you cut inside. Great. Man. I'm pretty sure this reprints the whole story. And he lettered it as well. You know, if you're a fan of Steve Rude, you can definitely tell that he's a fan of Alex Toth. And I remember Steve said he got a critique from Alex Toth. And this is when Steve was a professional, and Alex Toth just tore him a new one. So, just great stuff. Economy of line. Yeah, and here I believe these notes are talking about this story. So that's why it's reprinted here. Oh, Bob Kanigher's Gallery of War. White Devil, Yellow Devil. This is so cool. These first few panels here. Looking through dense, thick brush. And you pull back and look at this. Just the shadows and stuff there. Oh, man. Beautiful silhouettes here in the foreground. One of my favorite jobs Alex did is a Black Canary job. It might be that Detective 442 that we saw in the beginning. Yeah, that's another great one. A Unreal, issue 78. He did a horror story too. He did a few, I should say, for DC, and their horror books in the 70s, 60s, 70s that are really nice. Oh, and he did a Green Lantern issue, inked by Terry Austin in the 80s, which I love. And he did a Superman Batman annual in the 80s, also inked by Terry Austin. And Terry doesn't sell his original art, so he still has his portion of that stuff, which to me is just like, wow. So just going through, he did a, Undersea, Sea Devils, something like that, that I also have, you know, a comic book. He did a couple issues of, was it? Oh, Rip Hunter. Rip Hunter. He did 2 issues of it, and I'm still looking for one. Every time I go to a convention, I look for it. And I know I could get it on eBay, but I really like the hunt of looking for stuff. And some pictures of Alex Toth. His visits with Alex. There's John in these pictures, very young looking. He still has the beard and the poofy hair like that. God bless him and his hair. I got to get back up to his store. It's just a couple-hour drive. That's the problem. Look at this beautiful inking here. There it is. Page 15, page 4 from Alex Toth's 1975 Batman story. Death Files, The Haunted Sky, or Flies, sorry, The Haunted Sky from Detective Comics 442. So I got to see if I have that issue. I'm not actually sure. I might have it in reprint. And that's it. This is from November 29th, November 05. After 6-7 years of Halibus, it's kind of stale. Doodle back or give it to someone who will, or forget it. You doing so well in my skin, feeling my age too much. Happy holidays. That might have been, oh, nope. This was Alex's last postcard to me. He died May 27th, 2006. This postcard was May 4th, 2006. Wow. Great book, guys. I highly recommend trying to get it. I will look if it is available. I will, of course, post the link for you guys. Thank you for joining me for this book look. Guys, the comic book pencil art of Andy Smith. That's me. 64 pages, oversized book featuring some of my favorite fully pencil pages that only the inker or editor has seen before. Can be yours. Campaign closing soon. A little over $500 away from the final stretch goal, making it a nice wire-bound book so you can perfectly lay it flat. This you can't lay flat. If it was wire-bound, boom, you can lay it flat. Perfect for scanning or putting tracing paper over to try and practice your own inking skills. Thank you for watching me. As always, the channel keeps growing because of you. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, and I will catch you guys on the next book look. And this Thursday, 8 a.m. drops another time-lapse drawing. Last week was Lion-O. This week is Tigra. We're going Thundercats for a few weeks. Bye-bye, everybody. Nice and tight, the comic book pencil art of Andy Smith. That's me. This book features 52 pages of some of my favorite full pencils that I did for other companies over the past 2 decades. The raw pencils as they were seen by the inker, and now you can see them for the first time. This book also comes in a digital format so you can practice your inking in your favorite program. Back it today.